A while back, I made a video talking about the hash one mistake that people make in voice work and how it can affect or be actually the cause for tightness in your vocal folds or vocal problems. And I did also mention in that video that that mistake can actually sort of go in two directions. But I never actually told you what that mistake was. And I didn't, as promised, I didn't make the video immediately after, which I had meant to do, describing what that mistake is. So I'm catching that up today. Now, the one mistake that I was referring to is when we don't allow emotional essence or our emotions to actually flow with and into our expression. And this is something that we find more often in either people who have had their expression shut down at an early age, but sometimes you also find it in professionals. So people who are professional singers, because they're so focused on vocal technique and have done a lot of work, they don't necessarily allow that natural emotion to flow into the voice. And here's the thing. If you stop emotion flowing into your voice, it will tighten your vocal folds, impede your artistic expression, but it'll also damage your voice over time. Okay. And as many of you know, neurosensory voice work, we're anyway not focusing on the performance of your voice, but we're correcting potentially habits where we've stopped emotion to flow into your expression. And it's key that we open that up, because any holding or tightness, whether it's in the laryngeal muscles or, you know, in the intercostal muscles or in the diaphragm, wherever that holding is, the tension is going to transmit into the tone of your voice and is going to impact your ability to use your voice, whether this is for an artistic purpose or just being heard. Okay. So if emotion is locked down and held in the body, if there is trauma that is locked down and held in the body, that is going to transmit into your voice. So that was the one mistake. And the one mistake I was referring to was not allowing the emotional flow to accompany your voice. And what that means really is when you're starting to work with your voice, whether it's with neurosensory voice work or with any other modality, if you feel emotion rising, if there's grief or sadness or anger, it needs to flow into the voice. The voice essentially is a carrier of your emotional essence. So if you, for some reason, have locked down emotion and have stopped allowing that tone and that flavor to accompany your voice will sound brittle, dry. It won't have much capacity to actually unfold and develop, because there'll be a disconnect from the tension or the trauma that's held in the body and the voice that is just working on top. And that disconnect needs to be mended. And that's what we do in neurosensory voice work, where we slow things down sufficiently that actually we are using the voice more as a means to attune to our body and to listen what our physiology is needing. And if there is emotion there, we allow that emotion to come into the voice and be expressed. But here's the thing, in a very titrated way. This is not cathartic. This is being present with the sensations that we're feeling, being present to the emotion that we are experiencing as it comes through in the expression. And this can be tremendously healing for people who have a lot of lockdown tension, a lot of trauma that's stored in the body that is potentially even beyond your awareness. You think, oh, I haven't experienced trauma. Yeah, why should I have trauma? Often we are unaware of the trauma that our body is carrying. And so working with the voice is a beautiful way in. It's a key to actually access that and allow it gently to start flowing again. And when we do that, those tensions that are habitually held in different areas of the body start to release. And as they release, elasticity is restored, and the whole body and the systems reorganize to go to what is a more holistic or more balanced tension level that suits your biology. So that's about that piece. Now, the other piece that can happen is that trauma leads us to overexpress. And this is another very common mistake, often found with people who have a lot of voice and potentially are training their voice. And it's dangerous because if the ratio is not balanced between the opening and the flow, that can cause damage. It's a bit like if you think of a river that's bursting its banks. So if the river is the emotional flow of energy that's coming through your voice, and you don't have a structure that is solid enough to contain that, then what happens is that there can be physical vocal damage over time, as well as emotional damage and re-traumatization. But I'll go into exactly how and why in another video. But for now, I hope this clarifies that #1 mistake that I was referring to in that previous video a while back, where I was talking mainly about the tension that is locked down because of past trauma.